And I think they'll cross that bridge when they come
For
back.
sure. And I think if we go to even mid-January, right?
Yep.
There's got to be 10, 12 games. I think it's too early to have that conversation.
Right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. It's
fair.
It's legit,
Okay.
but it's too early. If in fact Christmas is over, comes back, he's got 2 weeks of looking like his normal self, that'll be a really hard one for the league to swallow. We're trying to build something here, and
League's got no say.
Are you kidding me?
They got no say.
No, there's pressure.
They can't tell a team
I'm telling you, I know they can't.
Yeah.
And I know ultimately the Leafs will have the final say.
Yeah.
But if he's looking like his old self by mid-January, that one's a very difficult one for even the Leafs, even the almighty Maple Leafs, to go back to Gary Bettman and say,
he's fine, but we'd rather he didn't play.
Yeah. We know you marketed your U.S. team around him, and it's McDavid versus Matthews in a dream final, but we're gonna leave him out for precautionary reasons.
But Kip, even if he's healthy, if he is healthy and he is performing, he's going to want to play.
Absolutely.
So if he's fine,
Absolutely.
he's going to play. There's no scenario where he's okay.
Yes.
And they choose to rest him, I don't think.
No.
Which you would love them to do.
But he would be the first one to say, if that tournament was next week, I can't go like this.
No.
Even he knows he doesn't have the juice right now.
Boys, their schedule in January is bonkers. And really starting on the 27th of December, 27th, 28th, 31st. And then it's every other day in January.
They're going to
2,
have to
4,
give him
5, 7th, 9th, 11th, 14th, 16th, 18th, 20th, 22nd. I mean, it's every other day.
They're going to have to give him some days off.
To me,
they
this
have to.
right now is a huge missed opportunity, not just to do it right this second. Be like, hey, we'll see you on Friday against the Red Wings, the 27th. It's like you're playing against the Sabres and the Islanders. I guess you have the Jets, who are good on a Monday. It's a marquee game, but to me, it's a huge missed opportunity. Like, if he's resting and he's fighting through, it's like, what are we doing?
Here's the
You're
problem,
at
though.
first in the Atlantic.
There's no guarantees right now
that would help.
that would, for the second time, to go down another path of 3 games. Is 3 enough? We just did 9.
You're right. I'm looking for
gonna
answers here. I'm looking for answers.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
D pairs.
Blue line. This kind of surprised me when I heard the major shuffling. I think, again, it's an admission of, we're getting points and we're getting lights out goaltending, but we don't like what we're seeing.
A lot of this isn't super surprising. Benoit McCabe have been paired up again, and they've been great. They were their shutdown pair in playoffs last year. We know that they can do it. OEL Tanev is really nice, I think, right? Handedness is there, lots to like. Riley Timmins, we're at a point, and I have an article in Sportsnet where I wrote a little bit about Morgan Riley today.
What'd you say about him?
I said, and I may have said something like this on the show yesterday, but if a friend of mine has dated 10 straight girls that he tells me are crazy and it didn't work out, at some point he's dated enough people that I go, it might be you. Have you thought it might be you? Morgan's on his...
2 or 3 girls.
Yeah,
you
but
mean 10?
No, but like Riley, I'm saying he's had enough partners now where you go, God, none of them are right for you, eh? Like, everyone's got something off. Is maybe if it has to be Ron Hainsey or Luke Shen, can Riley not play with someone else? He doesn't work with OEL. He doesn't work with, go through the years of partners they've tried to pair him with, and it doesn't work. Why?
What is it in his game?
It's kind of what I'm wondering. What is it that it has to be Luke Shen?
We've reached the point of the season where we start to question what Morgan Riley is. Like, it's an annual thing. But I agree. It's at some point
been
here.
Fine.
No, I don't know if he's been necessarily fine. I think there's been a lot of games that leaves you a little wanting more. No question.
Yeah.
But
I looked into the numbers today and expected goals percentage and stuff.
Okay.
He's 5th on the decor.
Okay.
It's not great.
No.
And
that meets the eye.
Yeah.
So
What's his plus minus? I don't even know.
He's
Is
the
that a
only
factor?
guy, only D-man at 5-on-5 who's been on for as many goals as he's given up. He's been on for 18-4 and 18 against at 5-on-5. I'll check the NHL
He got
site.
the
That
worst
was
plus
natural
minus
stat trick.
on the team?
No.
Yeah, I think he does.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and it's not even close.
It's problematic.
-8.
What was I looking at now? So this must be other strengths like empty net goals and stuff and things. I was looking at purely 5-on-5. But yeah, no, -8 is the worst on the team. Second worst is -3. Tanev is
Plus 11.
Plus 11. Ooh.
We go from plus 11 to -8.
And so
That's
significant.
he's
That's a
not
stunning
beyond
number.
reproach. He's not beyond criticism at this point. McCabe is plus 9. Timmins plus 8. Ekman Larson plus 7. You know, like
Yeah.
Benoit plus
what is,
6.
What is going on there?
He's -8. I don't know. You know, I know he's on for a couple empty netters, but that's not enough to.
Do you want to hear the coach talk about the D pairs?
All right.
Love to hear it.
Clip 3, please.
Well, like I think more than anything, it's we switched them up the last couple games in game, put Noel back on left. McCabe's played right here before with Benoit. They were a good pair. It's a heavy pair, so it's just moving guys around, just the same as we do up front with the lines at times. Mix them up once in a while.
This lends towards like really good or really bad. I don't know if there's going to be a middle here.
Do you want to guess? Has he ever been good with an offensive defenseman? Ever?
Probably.
I think his
not.
numbers with Liljegren
You
were
always
okay.
assume, but you always assume that he
San
is.
Jose Sharks scratched
The
fame?
D-man getting scratched
Yeah.
by the Sharks right now,
You
yes.
always assume that he's the offensive guy to go end to end, and he needs a stay-at-home guy.
Right, and that's it. It's like, it's got to be Labushkin. It's got to be a butcher who does nothing but bang it off the glass. Why?
Well, this is a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
He's on his right side. They tried to play him with Tanev,
The only thing,
who
too,
everyone can play with.
is Timmins has slipped a little bit for me, too.
So you want a slipping Timmins with Riley.
Yeah, who took 2 penalties and should have taken 3 against the Stars.
Yeah.
He almost
Right?
had a
Like,
penalty hat trick in 3 shifts.
He hasn't looked good for a few weeks here.
Yeah.
And you're going to put him with Riley? It's like,
Slipping a
that's
little
going to
bit.
work?
I bet you that pair plays the least minutes tonight.
For sure.
Yeah, because I like those other 2 pairs.
Yeah.
Now, how did you always feel if you came in and knew you were on a new line? You got a little juice out of
Yeah,
it, right?
it's something fresh,
Right?
new,
And-
and, a little exciting.
And then your attention to detail, and you want to make sure that it's a positive move. So factor in that Matt Murray's going in for his first game in
that's going to help. I
100
think.
years, and you got new pairs. So it could lend to the focus being a lot better.
And outside Matthews, they're healthier than they've been, right? Kampf is back in there. McMahon is helping drive that third line. Like, you feel pretty good about the state of the team right now. This is not all doom casting for a team that's winning a bunch and first in the Atlantic, but yeah, no, it's I do think they're going to get a decent showing. The only counterpoint I've heard that I like is Sammy basically saying it never goes well in Buffalo.
At least it's always a house of horrors. down
Well,
there.
it's not the fans.
I just picture old Brian McCabe shooting it in his own net down there. I just picture so many bad
It's
games
not the
that-
Leaf fans' fault. They're doing their part.
Oh, yeah.
To the point that the coach of Buffalo, do we have that clip?
We
Yeah.
do have that.
Yeah, we
clip.
do.
Yeah.
Leafs facing center crisis amid injuries, eyeing trade market for solutions. As the Toronto Maple Leafs battle through a growing injury list and a suspension, their lack of depth at the center position has become a glaring issue. According to Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman in his latest 32 Thoughts article, the Leafs are among the teams exploring trade options to bolster their lineup. This effort is coming amid increasing competition from teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and Nashville Predators, who have also set their sights on improving their center depth. Friedman didn't mince words about the Leafs' predicament. The teams currently focusing on centers, including Chicago and Nashville, must consider when others will enter the market. Toronto will undoubtedly be one of those teams, he wrote. While the Blackhawks and Predators may have an edge in terms of cap space and assets, the Leafs remain a team to watch as the season progresses. The Leafs situation is urgent, with up to 7 forwards currently unavailable due to injury or suspension. Ryan Reeves is serving a 5-game suspension, while key players like Austin Matthews, upper body, Matthew Knies, upper body, Kaye Jarnkrok, groin/sports hernia, David Kampf, lower body, Max Domi, lower body, and Max Pacioretty, lower body, are all sidelined. The team has even considered temporarily shifting Mitch Marner to the center position, highlighting the severity of their depth issues. This isn't just a short-term concern for the Leafs. Depth at center has been a persistent challenge for the team, and while stopgap solutions like Marner could help in the interim, the front office appears keen to explore longer-term fixes. For fans of the blue and white, this has been a recurring theme. The Leafs' center depth often becomes a problem at the worst possible times. James Myrtle of The Athletic recently added more fuel to the speculation, naming several potential trade targets who could help the Leafs address their issues. Among them is Ryan O'Reilly, a familiar name for Toronto fans. O'Reilly, who signed a 4-year, $18 million deal with Nashville in 2023, might be a trade candidate if the Predators' underwhelming start to the season, 6-11-3, 31st in the league, prompts a rebuild. However, his steep price tag and history with the Leafs, including rejecting a free agency offer less than 2 years ago, make this a complex and potentially unlikely move. Other names mentioned by Myrtle include former Leaf Nazem Kadri, currently with Calgary, as well as players like Michael Granlund, Nick Jugstad, Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Trent Frederick, Radek Faksa, and Sean Corrali. While some of these options seem more plausible than others, it's clear that general manager Brad Treliving will need to get creative to find the right piece without mortgaging the team's future. Cap space remains one of the biggest obstacles for the Leafs. Unlike teams like Chicago and Nashville, which have more flexibility and assets, Toronto is walking a financial tightrope. As Friedman noted, competition will intensify as cap-constrained teams strive to create room. For the Leafs, that could mean waiting for the market to develop further, a risky move given their current needs. The situation also highlights the Leafs' ongoing struggle to build a roster that can withstand the grueling nature of an NHL season. Injuries are an inevitability in hockey, but Toronto's current predicament underscores the importance of depth, a quality the team has struggled to consistently maintain. Looking back on recent years, the Leafs have often leaned heavily on their star players, particularly Matthews, Marner, and William Nylander. While these players have delivered in spades, the lack of reliable depth options has left the team vulnerable in critical moments. The current crisis at center is merely the latest example of this recurring issue. Some fans have called for more aggressive moves from Treliving, arguing that now is the time to strike while the team's core is in its prime. Others, however, are more cautious, pointing to the dangers of overpaying for short-term fixes. Striking the right balance will be key, especially as the Leafs aim to keep their championship window open. Despite the challenges, there's no denying that Toronto has the talent to be a contender, provided they can patch up their lineup. The ongoing rumors and speculation surrounding potential trades show that the Leafs are at least exploring every avenue to strengthen their roster. For fans of the blue and white, this moment feels like a pivotal point in the season. With a lineup ravaged by injuries and a tough schedule ahead, the Leafs must act decisively to avoid falling behind in the standings. The addition of a dependable center could be the difference between weathering the storm or watching another season slip away. Whether it's O'Reilly, Kadri, or another surprise name, one thing is certain: the Leafs are under pressure to deliver. And for a fan base as passionate and loyal as Toronto's, there's no room for excuses. The time to act is now, and Leafs Nation is watching closely. As the trade deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Treliving pull off a move that solidifies the Leafs' status as a contender, or will the search for center depth become yet another chapter in the team's long history of what-ifs? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: it's never boring in Leafs land. As the Maple Leafs navigate this critical juncture, their fan base remains as vocal as ever. Toronto is a city that breathes hockey, and the pressure on Brad Treliving to make the right moves is immense. Every decision he makes or doesn't make will be scrutinized, from talk radio to social media, where Leafs Nation is already debating the merits of the various names being floated as potential trade targets. Among the louder debates is whether the team should prioritize a high-profile acquisition like Ryan O'Reilly or Nazem Kadri, or focus on a lower-cost, reliable center who can fill a supporting role without costing too many future assets. While O'Reilly's leadership and playoff experience make him an attractive option, his contract and recent history with the Leafs add layers of complexity to any potential reunion. Similarly, Kadri's gritty, two-way playstyle remains a fan favorite, but his cap hit and availability might render him an unrealistic target. Another factor complicating the Leafs situation is their tight salary cap. While Chicago and Nashville can make moves with relative ease due to their financial flexibility, Toronto must navigate a labyrinth of constraints to make any trade work. This likely means including salary retention or moving existing contracts to make room, which could drive up the cost of any potential deal. The question then becomes, how much are the Leafs willing to sacrifice to address their immediate needs? One potential trade partner generating buzz is the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, a dependable two-way center, has been mentioned as a possible target. Gourde's versatility and championship pedigree from his time with Tampa Bay make him an appealing option. Seattle, however, is in playoff contention and may not be inclined to part with a key piece unless the Leafs can provide a substantial return. Another intriguing name is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. Nelson is a consistent scorer and reliable faceoffman, qualities that would undoubtedly bolster Toronto's center depth. However, the Islanders are notoriously cautious when it comes to trades, and prying Nelson away would likely require a significant package, including picks or prospects that the Leafs may be hesitant to part with. For all the trade talk, some analysts believe the solution might come from within. Sheldon Keefe has shown a willingness to experiment with his lineup, and players like Pontus Holmberg or Fraser Minton could be given an opportunity to step up. While relying on less experienced players carries risks, it might be the Leafs' only option if the trade market proves too costly or slow to develop. Adding to the Leafs' urgency is the timing. The Atlantic Division remains one of the toughest in the league, with teams like Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay continuing to dominate. Any prolonged slump could see Toronto slip further down the standings, putting their playoff hopes in jeopardy. For a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, failing to address their weaknesses could have catastrophic consequences. Brad Treliving's history as a general manager suggests he's not afraid to make bold moves. His time with the Calgary Flames was marked by blockbuster trades, including the acquisition of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in the Matthew Tkachuk deal. Leafs fans hope he brings that same decisiveness to Toronto, especially as the trade deadline looms. Beyond the immediate need for a center, this situation underscores a broader issue with the Leafs roster construction. Depth has been a perennial concern, and while Toronto boasts some of the league's top-end talent, their reliance on a handful of stars has left them vulnerable in moments like this. Moving forward, addressing this imbalance must be a priority for the front office if the team is to achieve sustained success. As the Leafs head into a critical stretch of the season, the next few weeks could define their trajectory.